Hi, Gladstone, or people of Yalam, which means the land of shells or the place of shells in local Indigenous dialect, and to the rest of Australia. You may be aware this is the bittersweet week known as NAIDOC. And it is bittersweet because, like any other time that we celebrate a community's resilience and achievements, it's also a time to mourn the atrocities that led to them having to remain so strong all of these years. Australia, I understand we are trapped in a time when our national culture feels in crisis, especially when we don't know who to believe, what to believe, amid this vast, overwhelming introduction of AI generated disinformation online and in our physical spaces. It is easy to lose ourselves in the resentment campaigns and believe the worst of each other, even when our day to day experiences don't necessarily align with the perceptions that govern how we feel about others. NAIDOC stands for the National Aboriginal and Islanders Day Observance Committee. It isn't just a random word. There's a lot of history behind it. It represents the historical efforts of elders past and present, but especially those in the 1900s who placed their lives at risk to protest against the exclusion and atrocities committed against their family, their friends, their children, simply for being black. NAIDOC isn't new. The origins that eventually led to what it is today began before World Wars One and Two, before any Australian alive today was even born. It is proudly one of the oldest political activist and awareness groups in Australian history that continues to exist today. This week isn't about conflating First Nations people's egos. It's about commemorating the sacrifices made by their loved ones who suffered immeasurably as a compromise, as a decision that they had to make to help the community we see today have the basic rights, not privilege, just the basic rights of being involved in mainstream society and having some say in the political decisions that impact their lives, and then just having the same general rights that we all do. NAIDOC doesn't simply represent one form of activism, it is understanding how oppression and alienation hurts society firsthand. We may not all experience the same form of oppression in the same way or identical horrors, but we all share something in common, and that is being vilified for choosing love, equality, and community over hatred, cruelty, and division. NAIDOC is very important, not just to one community, to all communities, but of course, it is about awareness for the First Nations people. So I ask of you, in this time that is more important than any other, in my opinion, in at least very modern history, to place aside your thoughts and feelings about what you think you know First Nations people to be, and to realize that NAIDOC Week isn't about, again, fluffing egos. It's about us being present and supporting our national kin as we all figure out a way to unite together. It is hard, it is vexing, and it is difficult to find and show empathy for one another when you believe the group being celebrated is for people with privileges or nefarious intentions. Basically, when you remove their humanity and turn them into figures worth rejecting. But I ask you to challenge yourself to see firsthand if your perceptions and any real life experiences you have with First Nations people during NAIDOC Week at the many events that they're holding. You've got the entire week to pick an event to participate in, to fact check whether your perceptions and your actual experiences are matching. I've met very lovely people within the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities. I have come across very little disrespect during these events. I have I've had people be curious about me in these events. About disrespect, no. And so even in these times of questions and concerns, there's no doubt about this part of our culture, that Australians love Australians, including our First Nations people. So please consider joining these events, consider taking your families. There are some really fun things happening this week. Couple things though, obviously today is done, yesterday is done. Moana 2 is unfortunately fully booked out. Friday's events have also been rescheduled due to significant losses in the community, and that period of grief for the First Nations community is called sorry business. It's their time of mourning. Tomorrow, however, which is Tuesday, the 7th of July, there is golfing and prizes at Gladstone Golf Club. This starts at 8 a.m. A weaving workshop at Roseberry at 10 a.m. And for those of you working 9 to 5s, they're playing Kangaroo at CQ Uni. Never watched it, don't know what it's about, but I'm sure it's pretty freaking good. And also at CQ Uni at 6 p.m. is trivia night. So if you're more into trivia, yay, go for gold. Just be aware you need to register for several events. So please click the link that I've shared. And if you need to scan the QR code to sign up to any of them, please do so. These events are for everyone. They're not limited to just First Nations people and their families and friends. The whole point is to bring the community together and learn a little bit about our national kin who have so much culture, so much love, so much joy to share with us. We just need to be willing to open our arms and invite it in. Have a think about it. Check the roster. There are good things in there. And just remember, guys, it's really easy to be lost in everything the media is feeding us. But at the end of the day, we're all living together. We're all spending our time supporting the Gladstone community, supporting local Gladstone businesses, forming this beautiful city. I think that we have a commitment to each other as Gladstonites and should make an effort to participate in events that are held in Gladstone. So if it's not for one reason, maybe pick another, but still go and attend one of these events and just experience a bit of what I've experienced throughout my life. It's just people gathering together and sharing some love. Okay, I hope you all have a good night, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.